First, I've been able to forgive myself. My wife has willingly and quickly forgiven me. And God has forgiven me. Here's the good news too. The doctors were wrong. Okay. We've been blessed with two beautiful children, Olivia and Benjamin, and I have a third that I know I will see again. I will always be that guy, but I'm also a man that no longer believes the lies, and I will also be silent no more.
Mi decisión de hacerme un aborto fue un acto de cobardía del que me arrepentiré por el resto de mi vida. El temor a mi madre, a la vergüenza que le causaría lo que sus amigas dijeran y el mal ejemplo que sentaría para mis hermanos menores, me dominaron. Unido a esto, la urgencia del doctor de que no podía esperar un día más. Supuestamente en mi país, Nicaragua, los abortos no se dan, porque estos se hacen en cualquier clínica. Ningún doctor que se precie de ser un buen doctor quiere ser conocido como un aborcionista. Es un país de mucha religiosidad y en nuestros pueblos latinos nunca se permitiría una clínica de aborto abiertamente. Aunque no recibí más información que decirme que era urgente, me dijo que no necesitaba saber nada de mí. Sin embargo, cuando me aplicaban la anestesia local, alguien me preguntaba mi nombre, me preguntaba el nombre de mis padres, me preguntaba el nombre del bebé que estaba abortando, me preguntaban por mi trabajo. Luego sentí que todo fue bien rápido. Por instrucciones del doctor, alguien tenía que venir conmigo. Luego que me desperté, sentía que convulsionaba, sentía tristeza, sentía dolor. Mi amiga incluso sentía que tal vez había valido la pena que de alguna manera me quitara la idea. Sentí que alguien más sollozaba en la penumbra. Cuando salí de la clínica era otra persona completamente distinta que la que había entrado. Estaba herida, me volví una persona huraña, arisca, incluso a las expresiones cariñosas. Cargaba un gran peso en mis espaldas. Me volví una persona desconfiada, agresiva verbalmente, celosa. Confesaba mi falta una, otra y otra vez y no sentía el perdón, no alcanzaba a experimentar el perdón. Mi esposo y yo incluso fuimos a encuentros matrimoniales y hablamos con un sacerdote juntos. La infidelidad conyugal invadió y zarandeó fuertemente nuestro matrimonio. Llevamos 30 años casados. Finalmente, luego de un estudio bíblico largo, doloroso, pero completamente restaurador, pude recibir una nueva unción, encontrar un nuevo amor por mi esposo, experimentar la total sanación y liberación que solamente puede encontrarse en Jesús. He sido perdonada y liberada. Y quiero decirles que si Dios dice ser quien es seguro que Él lo es, porque yo lo he experimentado. He elegido hacer mi testimonio en español porque quiero alcanzar a jóvenes adultos, hombres y mujeres que hablan o que entienden el español. Como hispana, conozco que estas cosas nunca se dicen en público. Como solemos decir los latinos, los trapos sucios se lavan en casa. Somos enseñados en que una vez confesado el pecado, todo queda entre tú y Dios. Pero ¿cuántas personas se atreven a confesar lo que sabemos, pensamos en ese momento que Dios no puede perdonar nunca? No matarás. Pero yo tengo buenas noticias para todos aquellos que han pasado por esta experiencia. Nuestro Señor Jesús dijo: vengan a mí todos los que están cansados, porque mi yugo es ligero. Y Él dice: yo no te condeno tampoco. Levántate y no peques más. Tu pecado te ha tenido demasiado tiempo en una prisión. No has vivido una vida feliz pensando que desmembraste tu familia, que privaste a tus hijos de un hermano, que negaste a tus padres de un nieto, que dejaste este mundo corto de un maestro, de un sacerdote quizás, de un pastor o un misionero, de un artista o hasta de un doctor, pero a Dios no lo has tomado por sorpresa. Tu libre albedrío te lo puso Dios, aunque tú lo hayas ejercitado de manera equivocada. Él te lo concedió. Te digo yo hoy que lo mejor de tu vida es lo que viene. Si traes tu carga al pie de la cruz y resometes tu vida al Salvador. Porque no se trata de lo que tú hiciste, se trata de lo que Jesús hizo por ti. Tampoco se trata de lo que has hecho. Somos pecadores. Se trata de quién es Él. Él es Dios y Él todo lo puede. ¿Cuál es tu posición? Yo te invito a que no calles más. Libérate, porque por su gracia hemos sido sanados y la gracia de Él me ha alcanzado. He sido perdonada y liberada. Y como dijo David cuando perdía a su hijo, Él no puede volver a mí, pero yo voy a ir a Él algún día. Gracias.
Bonjour, mon nom c'est Chantal. Je vais faire mon témoignage en français, puis essayer de le faire un petit peu en anglais après. I will do it in English a little bit after. Vraiment, aujourd'hui, je me sens honorée d'être ici parce que je sais que c'est grâce au Seigneur, c'est grâce à la guérison qu'il a fait dans mon cœur. Je me tiens ici aujourd'hui, c'est parce que vraiment dans mon cœur, je regrette d'avoir vécu l'avortement, mais en même temps aussi parce que j'ai la conviction que le Seigneur a guéri mon cœur. Il a restauré ma vie. Il y a environ 20 ans, alors que j'avais à peine 20 ans, je suis devenue enceinte et puis je me suis retrouvée seule. J'étais toute seule. J'avais aucune aide, j'avais pas de maison, j'avais pas de travail. Et pour moi, l'avortement était la seule solution qui était devant moi. Pourtant, j'aime les enfants, pourtant je viens d'une famille où je suis la 8e. Et je me suis trouvée devant ce choix qui a été difficile. Mais en même temps, je me sentais tellement désespérée que j'ai quand même subi l'avortement. Je n'avais aucune connaissance des conséquences spirituelles, des conséquences physiques que cela allait apporter dans ma vie à ce moment-là. Et lorsque j'ai vécu l'avortement, les jours qui ont suivi, j'ai fait des cauchemars, je me suis sentie coupable, j'ai eu honte, sans même connaître Dieu. Ces choses, ces sentiments étaient profondément dans mon cœur. Et j'ai marché pendant des années avec ces sentiments, avec ce fardeau de culpabilité, ce fardeau de honte. Et je ne savais pas quoi faire avec ce fardeau, avec ces sentiments dans mon cœur. Et un jour, quelqu'un m'a parlé de Jésus, quelqu'un m'a témoigné de l'amour de Dieu. Et j'ai donné ma vie au Seigneur et le Seigneur a vraiment guéri mon cœur. J'ai vraiment ressenti qu'il me pardonnait, j'ai vraiment confessé. Parce que j'avais fait l'avortement, c'était par ignorance, mais c'était un péché. Et j'ai senti que Dieu guérissait mon cœur. Mais il y a une année, exactement, je suis venue en ce lieu pour la première fois. Je n'avais aucune connaissance de la marche pour la vie. Je ne savais même pas qu'à ce moment-là, j'étais enceinte de mon 4e enfant. Maintenant, j'ai 4 enfants. Merci Seigneur. Et puis, j'étais ici. Ça faisait 6 mois que j'avais planifié d'être ici. Et puis, je suis venue à cet événement. Et j'ai senti que le Seigneur me disait dans mon cœur, Chantal, je t'ai pardonné. Mais toi, tu n'arrives pas à te pardonner. Et c'était vrai. Fait que pendant plusieurs années, j'avais de la difficulté, je n'arrivais pas à me pardonner. Tellement j'avais honte, tellement je regrettais, tellement j'avais mal, que je me sentais coupable. Et puis, pendant que j'étais dans la foule, je me suis mise à pleurer quand j'écoutais les témoignages. J'étais prise avec ces sentiments. J'étais vraiment liée. Et le Seigneur a guéri mon cœur. J'ai senti la liberté vraiment dans mon cœur venir, la libération, la guérison, la délivrance. Et j'ai dit, Seigneur, si un jour tu permets que je puisse témoigner de ce que tu as fait dans ma vie, si un jour tu permets que je puisse marcher pour la vie, Seigneur, fais-le, je te donne ma vie. Et aujourd'hui, je suis là, je me tiens, c'est vraiment avec joie. Quand j'ai reçu un téléphone me demandant de venir, j'ai simplement pu dire oui. Parce que je veux rendre témoignage aujourd'hui que Jésus est celui qui guérit, que le Seigneur, que Dieu guérit, que Dieu pardonne, que Dieu restaure. Il restaure complètement. Et il y a un verset que j'aimerais simplement vous laisser. C'est dans le psaume 36, 10. Ça dit, « Tu es la source de la vie. Et par ta lumière, nous voyons la lumière. Et à l'ombre de tes ailes, nous pouvons prendre refuge. »
Hi, my name is Linda Menon, and I'm from Edmonton, Alberta. It was the early 1970s. I was 18 years old, and I was pregnant. My relationship with the baby's father had ended, and my own parents were getting a separation. Abortion seemed to be the easiest thing to do at the time, to deal with all the things that were going on in my life. My mom arranged for everything. The doctors said that it would be a simple, painless, 10-minute procedure, and that afterward I'd be able to get on with my life as if nothing had ever happened. Those words could not be further from the truth. After my abortion at the Women's College Hospital in Toronto, I woke up in the recovery room crying. I can remember saying to my mom, I don't understand why I feel so sad. Why does it hurt so much? I emerged from that healing institution with an invisible wound. A wound that went so deep that it would affect me for the rest of my life. I was different now. I was damaged. I was less than. I now had to hide this inadequacy. The sadness didn't go away. My life was plagued with bad relationships, depression, drinking to numb the emotional pain. 2 more abortions followed. One as a result of a pregnancy caused by an incestuous rape. Years later, when I finally married, I wanted a family, but I was unable to conceive. It's not fair. All those people like Planned Parenthood, they said, you can have a child whenever you want to, when it's convenient for you. But when I wanted to, it wasn't to be. I can remember being in situations where I would be confronted with women who had just recently had babies. And sometimes I would be invited to baby showers from girls that I worked with. And I can just remember having these awful feelings inside that would just say, you're not a nurturer, you're a murderer. And I would have to live with these feelings. My battle with infertility led me to despair. I had to face the truth that I had killed the only children that I would ever conceive. I decided that suicide was the only answer. That night, a supernatural encounter with the living God derailed my attempt to take my own life. And it started a journey toward healing, reconciliation, and restoration that continues to this day. Jesus guided me to sensitive, compassionate women who led me through post-abortion healing. I was able to forgive myself and begin to grieve for the children that I had lost. And now that deep sense of sadness is gone. I will see my children one day. For the time being, they're with Jesus. God was gracious in my life, and He allowed me to adopt a wonderful little baby girl from Romania. She's now 6 years old, and she's at home with her dad in Edmonton. And I praise Him every day when I wake up in the morning and I go in her bedroom and I get her ready for school. What I want you to walk away with today is the knowledge that abortion doesn't make anything better. It doesn't make all your current problems go away. It's just an open door to a far greater pain and distress than anyone had ever bargained for. Young women of Canada, please don't choose abortion. You will live to regret it.
My name is Leslie Graves, and I'm from Wisconsin. I'm glad you're all here. From a very early age, I wasn't just pro-choice, but I also thought that abortion was a reasonable and probably the right thing for a woman to do who wanted to achieve equality, have a career, and take advantage of her education. So before I was ever in an unexpected pregnancy, I would have known that I would have and choose an abortion. As soon as I got pregnant when I was 20, I was in graduate school in philosophy. I immediately scheduled an abortion. It was a very physically safe abortion. It was a very kind, caring staff, a clean, nice clinic. So it was certainly quite inexplicable to me why 2 months later I couldn't get out of bed in the morning because I was so depressed. I didn't understand why I ended up dropping out of graduate school later that semester. And I certainly didn't understand why a few months later I turned to my boyfriend with whom I had had the abortion and said, you know, let's get married. And I chose as our wedding date the weekend that our child would have been due. And because that was the only way that this still small voice inside me that affirms life knew how to acknowledge and memorialize my child at that time. So as life went on, I was still very pro-choice. I didn't know why I was starting to hate myself. I didn't know why whenever I was pregnant again and would be 2 and 3 months pregnant, I would wake up every morning and think that I probably should kill myself. So I would feel suicidal throughout my pregnancies. And when my babies were born, much as I adored and loved them, I would wonder why I felt as if there was an invisible wall between us. So my experience is that that still small voice that we are all born with that knows that life is sacred, in spite of whatever ideologies we may embrace when we're young and foolish, is still there and it speaks through us. And I'm sorry that Georgette started crying because now I might. The only thing, it's been a wonderful day, but the only thing that I wanted to say is that there's, as Helen Keller said, there's a great deal of suffering in this world, but there's also a great deal of overcoming. But when I saw that sign that said every child is wanted, what I needed to say about that is that we all still want our children, but they're gone for now.
Hi, my name is Quinty. 3 years ago, I made the decision that I will always regret, the only decision that I've ever regretted in my life. I aborted my son Matthew. I had just graduated from UCI and I had gotten pregnant. I felt so alone and worried, and what was I to do? My boyfriend wasn't ready to be a dad and I was too scared to do it alone. I decided to get an abortion because it seemed like my only choice. I didn't have a job that would adequately support myself, let alone a child. So I thought the abortion was the most logical and sensible choice. Little did I know that I would one day be haunted by that choice. The abortion provider told me that it was a quick and easy procedure with little side effects. I would be in and out in no time. What they didn't tell me was that I would go through such deep depression for the next 2.5 years. They didn't tell me that I would try to commit suicide twice within a couple of months, that I would be an emotional wreck, or that I would have constant anxiety and panic attacks and migraines that can only be controlled through medicine. They never told me that I would take a year and a half off of work to get professional help in order to get back to what seemed like a normal life. Before my abortion, I was a confident person who was ready to take on the world. I know what I wanted, and that was to have a family, and that American dream that everybody seeks. I was happy and outgoing. After the abortion, I became so depressed. I worried about everything, even the smallest detail of life. I no longer look forward to the future and no longer look forward to going out with friends. I became petrified of the thought of having any children of my own. I lost all interest in life and began to pull away from my family and friends. Fortunately, with the encouragement and support of my wonderful husband, Stephen, I got help. I went through a post-abortion recovery class through my church. With their help, I found forgiveness through God and worked through the issues associated with my abortion. With their support, I am able to stand in front of you today and tell you my story. Just 6 months ago, I could barely talk about it without being hysterical, but now I can stand in front of you and talk to you. You may think that you won't have to worry about it once it's over and done with. Just because you leave the clinic does not mean that it's over, but it's only just begun. I never thought that it would affect me so deeply, but it did. It will affect you physically, mentally, and spiritually. You may also think that it only affects you, but it also affects those around you who care for and love you the most. It affects everyone, both men and women.